And it's always a great pleasure to come your way on the marketplace with business. Of course, we're celebrating 25 years of joy with you. Good afternoon to you. Welcome to the show today. Coming up, government embarks on disinfection exercise at the Kotoka International Airport and other regional airports to pave way for commencement of domestic flights. Also in the bulletin, prices of petroleum products expected to witness substantial reduction from next week. We'll be having details on these projections. And non-performing loans declined significantly to hit a little over 6 billion cedis ending February this year. We have a discussion on the latest Bank of Ghana report. I have all these stories plus more for you in this half-hour business package. The marketplace. Don't go away. Thank you very much indeed for making time on the marketplace today. Welcome back. Now, government has embarked on a disinfection exercise at the Kotoka International Airport and other regional airports to pave way for domestic flights to commence operations after they were suspended in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. However, following lifting of the partial lockdown by the president, domestic flights are expected to resume. Minister for Aviation, Joseph Kofi Adda, tells Joy Business the exercise is crucial to help control the spread of the pandemic. Here's more in this report.
So behind me, you can see workers from Zoom Lion with 10 members in each of the groups. Now, these groups are expected to go out there disinfecting every corner of the airport. That is the car park, the streets, the tarmac, the taxiway, the various terminals and offices here to ensure that the place is safe and clean for passenger activity. And according to the head of Vector Services for Zoom Lion, this particular initiative or this particular activity is going to take 8 hours to complete.
In all, we have 14 groups. The first group, 4 groups, will be moving to Terminal 3. We'll be doing Terminal 3. There will be another group that will be doing Terminal 2. There will be another group that will be doing Terminal 1. Then we'll have another group also who will be doing the civil aviation buildings, all the other buildings around. We are also going to deploy people who are going to do the environment. What I mean when I talk about the environment with regard to airport, where the commercial activities are also taking place. We have MO&B engineering. We have the clinic. We have the project site and all the surroundings. Another group is also going to take the work over there. We are going to do the tarmac as work, and where the airport also, where the airlines also park. We are also going to work there.
So the disinfection exercise is taking off here at the Kotoka International Airport. But we are learning from the Minister for Aviation, Honorable Joseph Kofi Adda, that besides the Accra Kotoka International Airport, similar disinfection is being carried across all the other regional airports. That's to say, Takoradi, Kumasi, Tamale, and the Wa airports, all to ensure passenger safety.
Today, we are here to fumigate the airport, disinfect it in all ways that possible. The airspace, the walls, the floor, the counters, and everything that needs to be touched or that will be touched by the operators and by the passengers. That's going to be done today, all the 3 terminals, including all the other supporting facilities, such as the Civil Aviation Authority terminal buildings and the Air Traffic Control Tower. We are also going to go to the cargo area and all the other areas that need to be worked on. That will be handled today, and if there's a need, we'll continue tomorrow. After that is done, the airport company, supported by the port health officials, or rather led by the port health officials, would make sure that all the things that need to be installed to support the implementation of the protocols will be taking place here. We're particularly doing this because we want to start the domestic flights first. As we speak, it's happening in Kumasi and in Tamale, and they're going to move on to Wa and Takoradi very soon. The provision has been made for them to make sure that all the gadgets, all the commodities that are required will be in place when we commence flying again.
So you can see the trucks disinfecting the airside and the tarmac where the aircraft park. Now, all these are part of government's efforts to help check and contain the spread of the coronavirus. That is in their fight against the spread of the pandemic. This is to ensure that safety at the Kotoka International Airport is maintained, even as our domestic airlines once again kickstart operations. Beyond the disinfection, other measures such as the mandatory use of the face mask, the mandatory use of hand sanitizers, and the mandatory check of the temperatures of passengers and screening of passengers before you board is all in place to help us check the spread of the coronavirus, even as we kickstart with our domestic airline operations. Reporting for Joy Business from the Kotoka International Airport, my name is Sheila Tamaklo.
The Sector Minister, Joseph Kofi Adda, has meanwhile revealed special permission will be given to embassies and diplomatic missions in the country to help undertake evacuation of their citizens out of the country.
You all know that we closed down the flights. We're not flying out of the airport anymore, except for special flights that were evacuating passengers from different countries and a special permission from the presidency. We also had an ongoing exercise for the cargo to continue operating because there was a need to bring in essential cargo to support us in our fight against the pandemic. Save that, we were not really flying and the airport was virtually closed. But it is possible that permission will be granted to foreign embassies who want to evacuate their personnel as we've been doing. As and when they get the permission and bring their personnel here, the airport company will do what they normally do to ensure that the right thing is done to get them out of the country.
Away from aviation now, loans that banks fear would not be paid back on time continue to decline. Latest Bank of Ghana data suggests it went down significantly to reach 6.33 billion cedis ending February this year. There's more in the following Business Desk report.
According to the Bank of Ghana's report, the decline was as a result of some loan write-offs and improved collection from the commercial banks. The report notes that more than 97% of the loan was taken by the private sector, with the government accounting for the remaining. In terms of sectoral breakdown, the services sector led with the highest, followed by commerce, finance, and manufacturing. The central bank recently announced it is working with the judiciary to help fast-track credit cases in the court to help improve recoveries. The nominal figure might be on the high side. The Bank of Ghana argues that compared to industry ratios, the reduction might be significant. The development also expected to impact positively on credit extension by commercial banks in the coming months. This is despite the warning by the central bank that the COVID-19 may affect the ability of banks to lend to businesses. In terms of how other sectors performed, by the end of February, total assets went up by 17.8% to reach 128 billion cedis. This was fueled by significant growth in the loan advances and credits to businesses. Deposits, on the other hand, went up by almost 16% to hit 83 billion cedis compared to the same period last year, which the Bank of Ghana says it's an indication of sustained confidence in the banking sector. More than 90% of these deposits mobilized locally, with the remaining 4% from outside sources. The Bank of Ghana has also maintained that it remained committed and on standby to ensure that on the regulatory side, it takes adequate measures to minimize the effects of the coronavirus on the economy.
Well, so we want to get some more understanding on some of the issues in the latest Bank of Ghana report. Economic and financial contributor to Joy Business, Philip Namfuri, joins us on phone for some more. Philip, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace.
Hello, good afternoon, Bernard. How are you?
All right, fine, thank you. Now, what does this report highlight about NPLs in the banking industry, and what sectors of the economy contributed?
Okay, thank you very much again. I'm sure by now we are all aware that the Bank of Ghana, on a bi-monthly basis, releases its banking sector report to inform the public and keep us up to speed with what's changing in there. Last time the report was released in January, that was more or less 1 year after the financial sector or the banking sector cleanup was ended. Now we have this report from March that's chronicling certain issues issues within the 23 banks operating in the country. Listening to your report, which you just played, spot on report there, by the way, you realize that there's been a 4.5% contraction in terms of the stock of non-performing loans. So what we mean by the stock is what loans have banks given out that they have deemed have gone bad, or they deem have gone bad, and that's about 6.33 billion Ghana cedis. But again, you ask yourself, what were the reasons why non-performing loans have gone down? Because over time, we've had a lot of high non-performing loans, even as most recent as 2018. And it's due to recoveries, and what recoveries mean is that banks are going out there to go and take back what they are owed, and write-offs essentially means that we no longer want this on our books and we are doing away with it. So the NPL ratio has come down from 18.2% to 13.8%. Now, to the core part of your question, the industries which are contributing to the non-performing loans. Some industries made headway in terms of a reduction in negative contribution to non-performing loans. But right now, as it stands, the mining and quarrying industry, the transport industry, storage industry, and the communication sectors are what the Bank of Ghana tells as these key sectors that account for the high or the stock of non-performing loans. As they are the main drivers of the non-performing loans, together with other sectors in the economy which have a minimal contribution, as opposed to these four which have a very high contribution to non-performing loans.
All right, so we are hearing also that despite the drop in NPLs, the bank securities have gone up. What more can we learn?
Okay, so if you look at a bank's asset structure, it looks at what the banks are channeling their funds into. So we have investments, we have lending, we have property, plant equipment, that's the physical infrastructure, and then we also have what they will hold on as cash. So these are the four main areas when you look at the bank's balance sheet in terms of assets. Now, if you look at investments, banks have channeled more of their funds to long-term streams. So we're looking at notes and bonds. They have cut back in terms of what their contribution is to treasury bills over time. There was this time, 2016, 2015, banks were doing a lot in terms of short-term lending. But with the changes in our economy and macroeconomic fundamentals, they are now moving towards the long term. However, their contribution to, or their investment in investments, if I can say so, has come down from about 39.9% to about 36.3%. That's quite marginal. And lending, however, also has gone up from 29.3% to 31.5% in terms of the weighting or the proportion of the assets. So this re-emphasizes what the governor said some time ago, that we would see a gradual pickup in lending or credit expansion by the banks. And we are now seeing it in this March banking sector report. However, the key thing we should bear in mind is that we have this coronavirus pandemic with us, and it will depend on the depth and duration of this virus and how well economies are managing it. We've seen other developed economies, Spain, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, all lifting their lockdown, reopening their economies in some way or the other. We may expect the global economy to pick up, and that will feed into our own economy here in Ghana. But it's too early to tell. We can't really tell what's going to happen. But basically, banks are doing what we call balancing act, trying to benefit from lending. At the same time, the lending exposes you to risk, so they have to balance it with investments, which has very minimal risk and give them good return.
All right, many thanks for that update, economic and financial contributor to Joy Business, giving us some sort of perspectives on the latest Bank of Ghana data that has been presented. Away from that, development economist at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology says government must seek parliamentary approval to give out credit controls. He observes the financial sector will be the hardest hit by the impact of COVID-19. Dr. Osei Fusu Anthony Kofi, who is also board president of Think Smart Foundation, has therefore called on government to reduce the capital adequacy ratio to support such businesses.
So after government lifted the 3 weeks lockdown, businesses will begin producing for the market. But this will not be very easy for them because experts say that most of them might have tempered with their working capital in this difficult period. The board president of the Think Smart Africa Foundation, for instance, is suggesting that government recapitalize businesses in this difficult time. He is suggesting that the government should come out with credit controls and guarantees.
we have a high informal sector. Now, people need recapitalization. By recapitalization, they have exhausted their working capital. Some of them might have used part of their working capital to pay their workers, and now they need money. How do they get a recapitalization? There are two ways. If you want to go private, they should be able to get a loan from maybe financial institutions. Now, government could maybe guarantee, credit what? Guarantee. Or, you see, some years back, before the financial sector liberalization, there were controls and there were directives. I think in this dispensation, government should get the power from maybe legislative instrument from the parliament to be able to come out with some credit controls and directive whose sectors the banks should maybe give credit, or government itself should recapitalize the banks, give money to the bank to give out as a credit to some of these businesses who might need financial support. Now, even in terms of payment, there should be flexibility. And one government will provide credit guarantee, then the loans will not be that risky. And hence, the interest rate could also be forced to come down.
In addition to that, as a form of support for the banking and financial sector, he is suggesting that the capital adequacy ratio be reduced by 50%.
I will even also advocate that now the capital adequacy ratio within this dispensation could be relaxed. Now it was a 400 something. We can stretch it to about half for now.
As you're watching the Marketplace Live, let's do one of our top stories today. Prices of petroleum products are expected to witness significant reduction from next week. This is based on industry data and projections by Joy Business. JoyNews has been going through and has the numbers. Of course, he joins me in the studio with details. George, what exactly is it?
So let's help our viewers to appreciate this dynamics in this pricing thing that we always talk about, that every 2 weeks these oil marketing companies actually review their prices. Now this is based on development on the international market. At what price are these finished products selling on the international market, the cost of freight, insurance, and bringing on these products into the country. Now don't forget that these international sellers of these products, they don't actually take the Ghana cedi, they take the dollars. So actually you also want to look at what amount of cedis do you need to bring in these products into the country. So the price of the cedi, i.e. against the dollar, inflation, cost of freight, and the price are very critical in terms of settling on the price at which they will sell these products to you. So every 2 weeks they look at all these variables and they decide that based on X, Y, Z, if you drive to any service station, this is the amount that you're going to sell to you as in per liter. Now, taking the industry data, using the formula and all those things, you realize that a liter of petrol should come down about 6%. That will be the biggest. Diesel should do about 4%. LPG might be doing about 6%. Now there are over 120 oil marketing companies out there. Now these are accepted variables that most of them use. So these are just projections that if they should stick to what we know based on what the NPA has sanctioned, this should be the expected reduction in price. So some would say that how does it work out? For instance, if you look at a liter of petrol that was going for about 4 Ghana cedis, 12 pesos, if it should be going down by about 6%, you're looking at somewhere around 3 Ghana cedis, 88 pesos. At the pumps, if you want to look at in gallon terms, you're looking at if it was going for 4 Ghana cedis, 12 pesos per liter, you'll be looking at a little over 18 Ghana cedis for a gallon. Now, if you do the 6% reduction, you're looking at somewhere around 17 Ghana cedis, 46 pesos. So these are the dynamics in terms of what is likely to happen when they start reviewing their prices from next week, holding all these factors constant. Or the economists will always want to say that all other things being equal, these are the reductions that we should expect at the pumps from next week.
So I was trying to get the views of the LPG marketers. I'm just being told that we're not getting through to him, but it's amazing. Recently, this new circulation margin was removed. So why are we still expecting?
It's something that we are all trying to get from the industry players and those who market. But again, using the module that is accepted by the industry, that is what we are getting in terms of the projection. It could be that, well, they'll say that they might absorb the expected cost. So doesn't mean that the fact that we are projecting that this will happen is casting iron that it is surely going to happen. These are the variables that everybody is privy to in terms of calculating these prices, and therefore we are projecting that LPG should be going up by about 6%. Let's hear what they're going to say, whether maybe the variables for them is going to change or not, or maybe they're going to absorb some other extra cost, and therefore they won't pass on these costs to us. And that is why we are looking at these numbers, and we are projecting that these are the prices that you should expect if you should drive to any service station out there.
All right, thank you very much. Some good news for consumers. That was George-Wiafe. Now, the whole idea of free water supply is aimed at lessening the burden on Ghanaians during the COVID-19 era. But how hard is the directive of water sellers in urban poor communities whose livelihoods are depends on the sale of water? Sandra Esinamapenu visited one of such communities in the Greater Accra region, where some sellers are finding it difficult to heed to the President's directive of free water supply for the next 3 months.
This is Nungwama Nanyiko, a home to thousands of residents. Most dwellers here live below the minimum wage. Aside from a few self-compound homes, the majority of residents here share space in a common house, popularly known as compound houses. With little access to basic social amenities, most houses here have no taps, and so they rely on these wells known as bullers. But they are not for free. Before COVID-19, a bucket of water was sold for 50 pesos, while these yellow gallons, christened Kufuor gallons, are sold for 70 pesos. Following the President's announcement of free water supply to households for the next 3 months due to the impact of the coronavirus, we have come to this community, which largely depends on the purchase of water, to see how they are benefiting from the President's benevolence. Shockingly, some residents are still selling water. 21-year-old Nikwe, not his real name, shares with me difficult situations at hand, which make the President's directive a bitter pill to swallow.
Now I'm taking care of my 3 siblings, which is, let's say, they are two boys and 1 girl. And okay, we all depend on this water.
Why do you have to take care of your siblings at 21 years?
I'm the elderly male child from both my mother and my father's side.
So where are your parents?
I lost my dad when I completed SHS, which was 2016. And I lost my real mom when I was just, let's say, 7 to 8 years old.
Even though his decision to continue selling water has affected patronage, he has devised means to woo customers.
I go to people's house by using hoses. I sell the water, let's say, I send the hose to their houses and supply them with the water from house to house, charging them, let's say, I am adding 10 pesos to it because of the, let's say, electricity.
Sandra Esinamapenu's report ending this afternoon's edition of The Marketplace. Many thanks for watching. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Emmanuel Aboagye-Wiafe. Have a good afternoon.